Well, what does that mean, I asked. He said, a company that stinks like a startup is simply one that inspires innovation and then that harvests that innovation. So let's go more into exactly what that means and exactly how to do it. Best of all, let's go into how to do it in a way that costs you nothing but time. So let's talk about what inspires my generation in the first place. We are explosive powder kegs. We're full of fuel for these burning ideas. And what you need to do is light the match. So to find out what really inspires us as a whole, I spoke to a lot of the Forbes 30 under 30. You know, why not? The best innovators in the world. And I asked them the same simple question. What inspired you to innovate? What inspired you to think of that idea? And they all answered in a very similar way. Waits for dermatologists are way too long. Young people don't have access to effective insurance. Young people don't have access to inexpensive flights. What do those all have in common? They're problem statements. The Forbes 30 under 30 have in common that they're all trying to solve a problem. They felt the problem, they understood the problem, then they took the steps to fix it. And that's because young people don't necessarily innovate for paycheck or prestige. They innovate for a purpose. And that doesn't mean that we don't innovate for these things, but our purpose here today is inspire innovation in a very cost-effective way. These two, the two traditional P's, are the most expensive, the most difficult to implement, and the least cost-effective. This one is the most effective, and it shouldn't cost you more than 10 minutes a week. I'd like to share how. This is my friend Partha. So Partha started out just like me in high school, had some burning ideas for something he wanted to solve, but he didn't really have a muse yet. He didn't really feel the pain of a problem. Until one day, he literally felt the pain of a problem. He was playing basketball, and he broke his leg. Now, he was given crutches. Now, who in this room has actually had crutches before? Yeah, and keep your hand up if you like them, if they were comfortable. Yeah, everybody just, no, crutches are awful, right? The worst thing about crutches isn't that you're walking slowly. The worst thing about crutches is that it cuts off the circulation to your fingers. Now, when you're like Partha, and you're coding for a living, that was a serious problem. Because all of a sudden, he'd get off his crutches, get to class, and he couldn't type. So Partha did some research. He wanted to find out exactly how old-fashioned crutches are. And it turns out, I thought crutches were a couple hundred years old. Turns out they're actually 5,000 years old. Crutches are older than the pyramids. They could use a little innovating. And that's exactly what he did. Partha worked with his doctors, the exact ones who prescribed him different medications and who gave him the crutches. He said, well, let's design something better. And he literally called it a better walk. I like the name. And the way it works is it puts all the pressure, all the weight of your upper body on your forearms. So you can use more of your upper body muscles to propel your body along. Partha has sold thousands of these crutches. He's been featured on Forbes, on CNN, a true innovator. He's killing it. He's great. And then he met this guy, leader of the free world. I was so excited for him. This picture got about 1,000 likes on Facebook. And I actually picked up Partha from the airport. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that you got to meet Obama. That's so cool. That must have been the highlight of your entire journey, right? And he goes, no, not even close. Because I didn't innovate for the prestige of meeting the president. I didn't innovate to make a lot of sales and make a cut and make a profit. In fact, the most important part of my journey, the most inspirational part of my journey that reminded me of why I did it in the first place was a phone call that I got from Kentucky 2 weeks ago. So Partha gets this phone call from a woman named Cindy. And like him, she had suffered a broken ankle. And she had been prescribed crutches. But Cindy's problem was a bit worse. She felt the pain of crutches more than he did. Now hopefully, we'll get this video to go. No, not me. Nope. Anyway, so what Cindy does is she calls him and she says, well, I heard about your journey and I'm having a serious problem myself. I'm on crutches and they're cutting off circulation to my fingers. When I don't have circulation to my fingers, I can't teach piano. When I can't teach piano, I can't eat. Crutches are literally ruining my life because I live paycheck to paycheck. When Partha heard this story, he overnighted a pair of crutches to her. Within 2 weeks, he got another phone call. She called him back and she said, within 2 days of receiving your crutches, I got circulation back. And I was able to bring my students back into my home. Your crutches gave my life back to me. So, what's so important about that story is that in this case, Partha, there's not much more prestigious opportunity in the world than to meet President Obama. And yet, he was more inspired by a story of purpose from one of his clients. And that's not an anomaly. You see millennials around the world more inspired by these stories, by how they can solve a problem, rather than how much money they can make or the corner office they can get. So, this is my friend Varun, another story of purpose. I want to illustrate how a sense of purpose isn't just important for inspiring innovation, it's important for inspiring loyalty to your business. Varun was the rock star at a top Fortune 500 financial firm based in Atlanta, Georgia. That's how I know him. He's my financial advisor. He was killing it, smashing quotas, inspiring the rest of the workforce behind him. So naturally, one day the VP called him into his office with his boss and said, Varun, you're killing it, man. We love you. We're going to promote you early. We're going to give you a 40% bump in pay. And hey, in about a year, I'll give you this office. I'll even let you keep the desk. We're going to give you 5 more vacation days too. God's sake, man, take some vacation. Go to Monaco. They've got good cocktails. So he hears all this, they're all excited for him, but there's something missing. He feels an emptiness. They'd offered him the American dream on a platter, and he didn't like the taste because there was an ingredient missing. So he calls me, and he goes, they just offered me a promotion, 40% bump in pay, but I think I'm gonna quit. Well, why would you do that? You're killing it. I thought you loved working for this company. And he goes, well, they pay me well, but I don't know why I'm there. Sure, I get good money. Sure, I can have a cool office. But how am I supposed to go to work every morning if I don't really know why I'm going to work? Because, and this is one of my favorite things a young person has ever said to me. He said, because there's no price on purpose. Now, Varun actually ended up taking almost an exactly identical position at a smaller company for 40% less pay than he was making before his promotion. And he's way happier. Not only that, but he's innovating for that company in some pretty unique ways. So I'm now going to go into exactly how that other company, the small one, the underdog, poached a Fortune 500 employee and made him happier for less money. I want to go into the #1 tool for selling your purpose and inspiring innovation that's absolutely free, and every single person in this room already has it in their toolkit. Now, before I go into that, I talk to a lot of young people at a lot of companies, and I hear a lot of similar stories. I ask a lot of young people, how is your company trying to inspire you? And when they come back with kind of a boring answer, and they say, well, this is what they're trying, but it's not actually working, it's usually one of these methods. Now, if you think of a millennial as an explosive powder keg of innovation and creativity, then these are what I call the rubbing sticks together method for lighting that spark.